welcome to my channel. I am Sonique, and this month I've been doing a very deep dive with the Witch Sister Tarot. Oh, what an amazing deck this has been, and I don't even think I've delved deep enough, and this is quite a long video as well. So yeah, this is my deep dive on the Witch Sister Tarot. There's a few spreads in here that I've done and shared, not all of them because it's just going to make this video super long, but I've done more than I've actually put in the video as well. So I've been doing some challenges, you know, Instagram challenges. Yeah, I've been doing other things as well as what I've done in the video, but even though this is a long video, it's pretty much a snapshot of what I've been doing. So I hope you enjoy it. And at the end, I thought the best thing I could do was share a tarot tag, actually, which is One Deck Gone Wild, and I didn't do all of the questions, but I did quite a fair few, and that was a really good way of sort of wrapping up this month with the Witch Sister Tarot, and all the things that I found out about it. But explore this deck because it's worth your time. That's all I can say. It's worth your time, it really is. And as we're now coming to March, it's the 2nd of March as I'm putting this video together, I'm onto a new deck. So yeah, I've had to wrap this one up, but I think I'll probably come back to it, you know, at some point. Thank you for watching, and yeah, enjoy the video. Okay, so today is the 5th, Monday the 5th. I haven't done today's pull yet, but I thought I'd just do a little catch up of where I am so far. Last month I went by the way the moon was progressing through the sky. So if I was doing the same thing, it would be the waning gibbous, last quarter Friday, waning crescent Saturday, and so on. This time I decided to do a little bit different. So what I've done is I've taken a few keywords, or two-word keywords from the actual, and I'll show you. If we go to the different zodiac moons, I've done it this way. So on the first it entered Scorpio, so it was a waning gibbous, but it entered Scorpio. And so if we went here to Scorpio there, then it says the magical attributes, transformation, psychic development, releasing negative energies, and then some spell work, what it would be. So here, along here, I've put psychic development, inner transformation, which is what I got from there. So that was for those 2 days, 3 days, 1, 2, 3, yeah, the first 3 days. Then I realised yesterday that actually now it enters Sagittarius, so I needed to go to the Sagittarian moon, which is here. So we've got expanding horizons, seeking truth, increased in adventure. So I've put here as expand horizons, and here as spiritual growth, because we're still Sagittarius there. And then on tomorrow it begins in Capricorn, so that will be discipline, goal setting, and then we'll go into Aquarius, and I'm still releasing negative energy here. I've done it through a few days so I can see ahead what's happening here. So Aquarius, unconventional thinking, and then we're on Pisces, intuition. So I'm sort of using those as the focus for the pull, shall I say. And we've just had Imulk, and I've got this beautiful, you can see it here, Bridget's cross. Can you see that? There. And this was handmade by Black Raven Crafts in the UK. So that's really nice. And it comes on a chain, but I didn't want to wear it actually as a chain. I just wanted it around for the energy. So that's from Black Raven Crafts UK. There you go. They're on eBay, Etsy and Depop. They do all sorts of jewellery, so that's really nice. So yeah, we had Imulk. The correspondences with Imulk. So that came into my practice as well. Yeah, so I carried on using the Seasons of the Witch Imulk Oracle for this season, for this Imulk. I really like this, it's pretty. Yeah, carried on using that deck alongside the Witch Sister Tarot. And on the first day I also used the Night Fairies, which is this deck here. Love this deck. Love this deck. Keeping in with that Fae energy. Now, I've had a little bit of a dilemma actually with this Witch Sister Tarot, because as you may know, as I stated, I want to work the whole year with the Fae, and I thought, well, does Witch Sister go along with Fae energy? But actually some of the cards do, but a lot of them are goddesses as well. I want to bring in that Fae energy. That's the whole point of this year's study, which is why I brought in that Night Fairies Oracle. But it seems to be going towards a little bit towards gods, goddesses and that sort of thing. I've read through most of the book now. What I also did to try and connect with the deck, I went to the library and got these two books, which Julia mentions in the guidebook. So I'm starting to read through these. And then I've picked up this deck here, Celtic Goddesses, Witches and Queens. So I'm going to have a look at that. I will do a walkthrough of this one as well. This is just a little quick catch up. But it has got like Bridget and all the different Celtic pantheons. So that'll be nice. Yeah, that's where I am so far. So just doing little daily draws so far. I've not done any spreads. I've not done the interview spread yet. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I might record it. So yeah. So there's a space in the diary for notes. So in the January notes, what I've done here is I've put the cards that I pulled for the deck interview and the interview questions, so I can flip backwards and forwards, because I really like these set of 4 questions. I've put in the cards I pulled for the all-around advice spread and where I got them from, which is the pages in the guidebook. The Wolf Full Moon in Leo, again, questions I asked and the cards that I pulled, and then the New Moon in Capricorn spread, which I actually filmed and lost. I lost the footage. So it's from New Age Hipster. It's a 4-card spread. The first was Stars to Reach For, and I got the 2 of Pentacles. Second, How to Persevere, and I had Justice. 3, How to Turn Dreams into Reality, and I pulled the 2 of Swords. And 4, How to Celebrate Your Successes, and I had the High Priestess. So for now I'm doing the Witch Sister Tarot. I've decided to repeat this deck interview spread with these cards. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the first question, what advice would help to learn to work with this deck? What advice would help to learn to work with this deck? Let's see what we get this time. And we have King of Stones. Oh, very adult energy. A very serious energy as well. Oh, look at that face. This is someone who looks after their tribe. I have read a bit of the guidebook, so I'm familiar with a few of the cards, but not all. Okay, how might you help me grow as a reader? Is the second question. How might you help me grow as a reader? We have Moonchild. Where am I likely to struggle while working with this deck? Where am I likely to struggle working with this deck? 5 of Trees, so we have a 5. Okay. And how can I fully tap into the energies of this deck? Let's see, what do we have? 4 of Stones. So these are the cards I've pulled for my deck interview spread. So I think, without looking at the book, just looking at it intuitively, what advice will help me to learn to work with this deck? And we've got the King of Stones, and I think it's come to it with serious intent. This isn't a deck that is whimsical or as whimsical. I'm thinking about the Tarot of the Hidden Realm here, which is a lovely whimsical deck. Let's move this a little bit. I think this is a more serious deck, and it wants to be taken seriously. The moon chart, how will you help me grow as a reader? Interestingly, I had the moon in the 4th position with the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. Here we've got it in the 2nd position. So it'll help me to tap into those hidden places, to actually get clearer on those things that may be shadowy, and use that intuition, if you like, to tap into the energies of this deck. So we've got a couple of different energies here. We've got, actually, if I look at all 4 cards, we've got like a father figure, a child figure, a mother figure, and here a family. Where am I likely to struggle? Well, falling behind on the practice, I think. That's what I'm getting from this. 5 of trees. I don't know what it says in the guidebook. Yes, I might have a little look in a sec. Falling behind, really. We need to get up and get up and keep up, and yeah, not let it get away from us, because we need to be serious about this deck study this month. It needs some serious intent, and in that way it will actually give us and nurture the practice, because we've got this sort of mother energy here looking after the little ones. It's a wild boar, actually, and teaching them. So this deck's going to teach me something that I wasn't aware of before working with it. It's very different energy than the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. There's a real wild nature to this deck, total wild nature. And to work with that energy, if I work with that energy seriously, it'll help me to access things that were hidden before I started this deck study. But I do need to keep up, not fall behind, and it will nurture my practice. It will help me grow. It will guide me and help me grow and become wise. Yeah, wiser than I was before I started the deck study. That's what I'm just getting from the imagery. I haven't looked at the guidebook. I did look at the King of Stones. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if there's anything that jumps out at me from the guidebook. So part of the King of Stones that's coming out at me is one where he wishes to pass on skills and customs that have served him well to the next generation. That goes well with that card, doesn't it? Just by looking at it. So he offers help and support and heralds a maturing of our own sovereignty and strength. This is the card that's giving me sage advice. Moonchild, helping me to grow as a reader, says it's time to connect to the source of your own magic, because in childhood we feel strong and vulnerable and we believe we can do anything, and we've still got that power and potential within us, and we've got these youngsters here that echo that. Shake off the veils that have been dimming our inner light. Soon it will be beaming out and beautiful things will be drawn to us like her hawk moth companion. Interestingly, with the 5 of trees, this position is how am I likely to struggle while working with the deck? And part of the divinatory meaning is it brings us a time of testing where we might be challenged to the limit of our endurance. It speaks of dynamics and difficulties we can all face. There are times when it's all too easy to imagine we can hear the hounds baying for our blood. So these are actually being chased. Oh, there. Oh, it's very difficult to see, but I think there's horses in the background there. But it says hope's not lost. We must be honest about our own part in the situation. If we can do this and keep an open heart, we will find a way through unscathed. So that's where I might struggle. And then the 4 of stones. For how can I fully tap into the energies of this deck? This is a boar that was sacred to the Celts and symbolises strength, courage and fertility. It tells us we're exactly where we need to be and that we belong here. Our position is strong. We have natural resources and qualities that we need. We are supported, whether we are aware of it or not. How beautiful. We're coming into our own sovereignty and strength, which echoes these cards as well, doesn't it? So they all sort of seem to be echoing each other from the guidebook meaning. Yeah, so that's my first little spread with the Witch Sister Tarot. So I found a spread I like online. This is from Typewriter Tarot on Facebook. So this tarot spread for the new moon in Aquarius, we take the star, which in this deck is Ancient Starlight. I thought it interesting actually that the moon card shows a young person, whereas the star card shows an older person. Just try and get the glare off. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah, we have the new moon in Aquarius for February. And this is our star card. So what we do here is a 3-card, well it's a 5-card spread actually, but we do it 3 down below. So we put the star card over here, and we're going to ask what powerful seeds are being planted for me on this new moon in Aquarius. Okay. So we have, our first card is 7 of Stones. Make sure we can see these. Then we have 3 of Skies and King of Waters. That's, yeah, one of each suit. So then we have, how am I being asked to show up for this? We've got Death. What fear or resistance do I need to work with along the way? Five of Waters. So I'm going to resist the urge to read this like a Rider-Waite-Smith. And I'm going to actually use a guidebook here because it is a little bit different, isn't it? So 7 of Stones would be the 7 of Earth, or the 7 of Pentacles, and we've got some powerful ram's head energy here. This sort of looks like the same person, doesn't it? The 3 of Skies, which would be the 3 of Swords. Came up for me the other day actually. King of Waters, it's the first time this card's appeared for me. So those are the 3 to be read as a portrait. So this is what powerful seeds are being planted for me. 7 of Stones. So let's just look at these 3 cards first. So the 7 of Stones in this deck is all about divination, the art of divination, and it promises there's a potential here for developing those gifts of divination, and that it's going to be fertile ground. So that's a really nice promise. That's a really nice seed to actually develop my own personal divination skills. And this one is all about finding your own voice, because the magpies are loud, aren't they? And there's a story in the book about they have, yeah, every magpie carries a drop of the devil's blood under their tongue. Yeah, so they've, and magpie pie is because they're black and white, which is pied. It's another name for black and white. A mag actually means chatterer. So I mean, they are constantly chattering, but this encourages us to find our voice and not to be afraid to use it. So it's really nice. And here we've got a lovely energy with the King of Waters, or the King of Cups, who's very in tune with other people's emotions but in a mature way. So I think that's a really nice message there for the upcoming month, and one I'm going to take to heart, actually. How beautiful is that reading? Okay, so we had death here for, is it how I am being asked to show up for this, and we've got cycles here. So I know this is a death card, and I know it means endings and beginnings, but what I'm getting from this actually is to use both sides of the personality, really, the wisdom of age and the enthusiasm of youth. And I think combining those two will help me with this energy here. I'm really feeling that as well, to actually use the enthusiasm that I still have for divination, for finding the courage. With wisdom, I can find the courage to actually speak my truth where divination is concerned, not be afraid of being judged by others, and having the wisdom here, and using that wisdom to help other people with their own emotions, really. This is a suit of emotions, isn't it? And caring and empathy, and because I am older, I have gone through a lot of experiences, both good and bad, and so I think I have more of an empathetic nature anyway, and I can bring that to the table within my divination work. Where am I going to find resistance? So what fear or resistance here? So that's the Five of Waters, and of course the 5 is a card of chaos, really. So 5 of Waters would be 5 of Cups, so we're talking emotions here. There's a line in the book, actually, for the 5 of Waters that really, really hits home. It says, every time we strive to grow and advance, we face the howling gales of our own harshest judgments and fears. So I think this sort of aligns with this card as well, doesn't it? So actually not be afraid to speak up, to find your voice, and not worry about what other people think. Most of all, ourselves. So let's sum up this reading. It's encouraging me to use my voice, not be afraid to use my voice, but use it in a compassionate way within divination, and this will be successful. To use my wisdom gained through all the years I've been on this earth and my experience, but alongside my enthusiasm, a youthful enthusiasm for this work of divination. And to try not to be self-critical or second-guess myself. I think the cards tell the story. I am just the one delivering that story, and not to worry too much about how it's received. It's the story that needs to be told. And we have our very wise star card here to encourage that from this new moon. I like this reading. Yeah, so the new moon in Aquarius. So now I'm well into the second week of my deck study with the Witch Sisters Tarot. And what I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the things I've noticed is a repeat of some of the animals, etc., in different cards. And I thought that was really interesting to follow the path of these different cards. So if I do it with the guidebook, because it's nice big pictures, I'll just show you what I mean. For instance, we've got the stag repeated, and it's quite interesting actually. The stag in the Magician, I think, first appears. So read the Magician here. So we're told about the energy of the stag here. But then you might notice that it's also in the Hanged one, I think. Yep, appears there as the white stag, and then appears again in the King of Trees. There you go. So that's not, it's a nice thing to actually follow these motifs through the deck. Let's see another example. Let's go with another animal. So we've got the hare. Yeah, let's go with the hare. So the hare actually first appears in the fall. There we go. So we've got the hare there in the fall, and it appears as a leveret, a little baby hare here with judgment or renewal, and also as a tattoo on the chest area there as well, or the neck area. So that's interesting, isn't it? And it also appears in some of the trees. So let's find it. So the Ace of Trees, it's really prominent there. Yeah, we've got, so here we've got the stag again, as well as the hare. We've got them here on the 5 and here. And we've got them here again as a tattoo. And if you remember on renewal, the tattoo, I'm going to find it again in this deck. So we've got it there as a tattoo, and then we've got it again there as a tattoo. So, you know, is this the same person? Different stages of life? It's something worth thinking about, isn't it? We've got antlers as well repeating in the deck. So lots of things. There we go. What I was going... Yeah, let's have a little look. Because I think this is really interesting. The hare now actually appears as the Queen of Trees, and she's shape-shifted between a woman and a hare. Isn't that brilliant? So in the Ace we met the witch as the hare. So this is the witch as actually as the hare, and then transformed between the two. That's so cool. So I followed and wrote down, went down a rabbit hole to get the pun. Anyway, yeah, the rowan berries. I thought I'd have a look at that. The rowan berries. So some of my notes. Okay, the rowan cards. Right, so I'm just going to refer to my notes actually now. So we first meet them in the Lovers, which is appropriate, isn't it, Valentine's Day and all. And here, the rowans and the thistle. So the rowans are protection and healing spells, rituals, charms using rowan and red thread, garlands to protect homes and livestock. So, you know, I've shown my rowan beads before. Obviously they're dried. Then we find them in the Ace of Trees. Here. And there it says, all the above and purification helps clear the mind and open the path for inspiration in attunement with nature. A bud, because it's the ace, it's the bud, isn't it? In the 2 we find them again here, bringing warmth and promise, hopes to fruition. In the 10, here, yeah. So we've got a winter scene here, and they're actually faded in this one. The colours are faded. Tree roots equals connection to the land and each other. Hope in winter, dark days. So it's more about the tree roots rather than the rowan berries. But yeah, it's the rowan tree. And then in the Maid, we're in the Maid's hair. So the Maid is a sapling with the potential to grow in the coming seasons, gathering and understanding nature. And then in the Queen is the hair one. So it's a rowan crown for majesty and magic, rich and bright gifts and fruitfulness. Isn't that brilliant? So then I went, like I said, down a rabbit hole, researching a bit more about the rowan. So it's, I'll show you notes actually. Tree of life symbolising courage, wisdom and protection. Its leaves resembles feathers, and this relates to a myth as well about Hebe. And Hebe lost her chalice, and the gods sent an eagle to retrieve it. So whenever the eagle shed a feather or a drop of blood, a rowan tree would appear. The leaves look like feathers, and the berries look like drops of blood. So the bottom of the berry has a pentagram as well, which is a protective symbol. And there's another myth, a round tree bent over a fast-flowing river rescuing Thor from being swept away into the underworld. And then they're strong. The wood is strong and resilient, used for protective crosses, woven with red thread. Used for carving rune staves, walking sticks, and for divination. Other names for the rowan is quickbeam, wicken, witchwood, or mountain ash. Other uses, this is druidry. It protects spirits of the dead, so it can be found at burial sites and stone circles, druid burial sites. It was used as a dye for ceremonial robes. Milk would not curdle if stirred by a piece of rowan. Oh, there you go, if you don't want your milk to curdle. It protects against fairies and witches. And just to deepen my connection, I actually did a little sketch. It's not great, but yeah, I've done a little sketch, just to connect me more into the energy of the rowan. So yeah, that's just a little catch up. Coming to the end of my second week. I have done some more spreads. I don't want to just overload the video with lots of spreads though, but I will do a few. And yeah, I've already done the new moon one. I've done the interview spread, so yeah, I'll do a few more. Okay, that's my catch up. So yesterday was the 17th, and I decided I would do the witch mirror spread from the book, which is on page 192. And with this spread, to show you, you pick 2 cards. Okay, so the first card you deliberately choose. So you go through the deck and choose that card. The second one you draw randomly from the deck. Doesn't tell you what this is for, but it does say it's a reflection. So the first card you choose, how is it reflected in the second card that you randomly pull? Well, what I decided to do was deliberately choose an archetype whose energy I really want in my life. I really like the energy of the King of Stones, and I'd like to incorporate it into my life as well, ideally. Anyway, so that was the one that I deliberately chose. Then I randomly pulled, which I think was quite funny, the 9 of Waters. And I think that's quite funny because they're holding a mirror. And this is called the Witch Mirror Spread. So I thought, yeah, that's cool. So anyway, in order to get from here to here, reading the guidebook, it says you need the energy of 2 other majors. Hold up. And they've done it numerologically by using the Hermit, because that's also a 9 in the majors. And then they said the Sun, because it's 19, so it'd be 9 at the end. Now, according to that, in order to get from here to here, we need to incorporate these energies. So these are the steps that we take to get here. However, numerologically speaking, the way I do it is reducing those numbers down. To get to 9 would be 1 and 8, and 1 and 8 is 18, so it wouldn't actually be the Sun, it would be the Moon, which would be Moonchild. So there's 2 ways of going about that, but I think I will take the way that's recommended in the book, because I'm working with the deck and the book as is. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that for today. Okay, so today is the 24th of February, and we have a February snowfall micro moon in Virgo. So here we've got the correspondences, the colours, white, silver, pale blue. We have amethyst, clear quartz and selenite, some clear quartz. We have the element of water. The animal is the wolf again. The herbs are lavender, chamomile, peppermint and eucalyptus. So we've got loads of little things here we can use if we want to do some ritual work tonight. I've also got my little cluster of crystals here, which is nice. And so I thought I'd do a spread for this February snowfall micro moon. And I thought I might as well film it. We're invited to meditate on the stillness of winter. and visualise releasing any negative emotions or negative energies. And if we go back, it's micro moon, which means it's small. So here we go, micro moons. They occur when the moon is at its furthest point from the earth in its orb. It's making it appear smaller and dimmer. Well, actually, it was quite big tonight, which is strange, and it was very, very bright, and actually it's really cold. So it's a Virgo moon, which means it's about organising, purifying, healing, and promoting wellness. And if you wanted to do spell work, it supports rituals for healing, organisation and purification, as it says there, of the environment. So maybe some house cleaning to do there. So those are the associations with it. I thought we'd do a spread I found online. It seemed to really resonate with the energies, and I thought we might actually use the Fool as the anchor card. And we've got a lovely big moon here on this Fool card. So, what are we going to step out into on this February full moon? So the questions, I've written them down here. We start with what is frozen in me. Now it is really, really cold. I'm so chilly at the moment. It's been like the past couple of days of just, the temperature has just plummeted. Really cold. So it's a good time to ask this question, what is frozen in me? Now I hope this resonates with somebody. What is frozen in me? And we have the Witch of Stones. How to thaw the icicles blocking my path. How to thaw the icicles blocking my path. Interesting, we've actually got snow up on the moors as well. Oh, we have the Queen of Trees. Okay, so we've got some court cards coming out. Oh, what part of me is shining bright? Part of me is shining bright. Tradition. What are the dark corners that I need to leave behind? What are the dark corners that I need to leave behind? Witch of Trees. This is really interesting, all these court cards coming out. Lessons to learn from the full snow moon. Maid of Waters. Oh, beautiful. And a message from Celine. I don't believe this. Queen of Stones. It's just full of court cards. Oh, that's really strange. Okay, so this is our anchor card. The energy that we're going to call upon for this time of the year. And it's all about taking a chance. You know, the moon is full here. We can see clearly, and we're going to go for whatever it is that's been calling us. So that's our anchor card. Just put that over here. Okay. So yeah, our anchor card. And with spring just around the corner, we are ready to spring forward like this March hare here. So what is frozen in me with the Witch of Stones? So the Witch of Stones would be the Knight of Pentacles, which is quite a slow moving energy. And maybe we have slowed down a little bit too much this winter. Maybe it's time to start getting more energetic and dancing with life, as this witch is this witch is in the flow, in the moment of the earth. And so maybe it's time to be a little more free, like the Fool has that freedom energy, nothing holding them back. And so maybe it's time to actually follow that lead and stop being as passive maybe as we've been, not as slow. Maybe it's time to actually now get a little bit more energetic, a little bit more free flowing. So how to thaw the icicles blocking my path? We have the Queen of Trees, which would be the Queen of Wands. And so again, I think it's about, energy, because the Queen of Wands is a very energetic energy and a very confident energy. So it's time to tap into that confidence within and shine bright, transform ourselves into the person or the energy that we want to have in our lives, be in our lives. This is a shape-shifting energy, shape-shifting from maybe this static energy that we've been in and shape-shift into something more dynamic. So the next card and the next question, what part of me is shining bright? We have the tradition card, and if let's zoom in a little bit on this one, because it's so interesting that we've got a torch lit there. And we're talking about what part of me is shining bright. And I think here I can see confidence coming from our heritage, from those that came before, from the wisdom that was handed down to us. And that's what we need to move forward. We need to blaze our own trail, yes, but with the backing of what's gone before, all those that have gone before. You can see here in this cave. So yeah, hold on to our traditions and they will help us to move forward and shine bright. That's what I see in that card. And then we have the Witch of Trees. What are the dark corners that I need to leave behind? Okay, so here I can see a fox fur draped around the shoulders here. And the fox is associated with cunning. So maybe we need to be a little bit more open, a little bit more accessible, and not think that we actually know all the answers yet. I think we've still got a bit more learning to take on board, and not try and be so fast, not try and be so keen to move forward, thinking that we have all the answers. I think we need to slow down a bit on that one. And here we've got the Maid, so it's almost like going backwards, isn't it? Although this is the Maid of Waters, but it's like let's return back and stop a moment. This is the lesson to learn from the full snow moon, and I think it's taking a moment to actually connect back into our emotions, to our feelings. Zoom back out. Let's just take a step back and not rush forward too quickly. It's not time to rush forward too quickly. It's time to slowly wake up to this new spring energy and connecting with our creativity. And there's a real sense of heartfelt energy here. This Maid of Water is totally engrossed in their element. This is Earth of Water, and we can see the juniper berries here. There's growth that's going to come from stepping backwards a little bit, not being too keen to actually move forward too fast. So what does the Queen of Stones tell us as a message from Celine? What is this final message? And here we've got a slower energy once again. Stones is pentacles or discs. And here we can see this Queen, very determined look on their face. Our Queen of Pentacles is our nurturing aspect, the nurturing aspect of ourselves. Queen encourages us to take action, to grow, but to grow from a stable base. We've got too much fire here, and we need to actually tap into our emotions and ground ourselves, be totally grounded like the Queen of Stones is, and then we can actually grow from that secure, safe base and succeed in whatever it is we want to explore. I've come up to the end of this challenge. Yeah, we're right at the end of the challenge now, and I thought just to finish it off, I would attempt to do all the questions, well, most of the questions, in the hashtag One Deck Gone Wild, and this was from Rose Honey Ritual, so I'll put a link to that below, and yeah, let's have a little go with these questions and this deck. So the first question is, why did you pick this deck? And well, to be quite honest, because I was so excited to get it. I'd waited so long to have it, and even though my intention is to work with the Fae this year, I did sort of digress into the Witch Sister. But there is Fae energy in this deck, so yeah, that was okay. It does incorporate some Fae energy in here, so I didn't feel like I was veering off course. But yeah, I mean, a lot of us in the community have been really excited to get this deck, me included. So that was why I picked this deck in the first place. So the next prompt is favourite set of minors, so all the 3s or the 8s or whatever. And yeah, for me, I think I'm going to have slayed them out all here. I don't know if you can see them all. Maybe not. But I think for me it's the 10s, because all of the 10s feature crones, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Julia Jeffrey's art is so expressive anyway, but just look at these crones. If you can see, they are amazing. So I would say, yeah, the 10s are my favourite, all the 10s. Although, you know, we've got, I'll talk about this later, but like all the 2s are like twins. Anyway, yeah, the 10s for me. Next prompt is, what card reminds you to relax when it comes up? And I've chosen all of these for various reasons. I think the King of Waters really invites us to be who we are emotionally and not be afraid to show that. So it's quite a relaxing energy. I like the Witch of Stones because, you know, it's encouraging us to dance with life. The Land, because of knowing our connection to the land and being in the land and being outdoors, is one of my favourite things to be. The Moonchild, well, yeah, I mean, look at it. How relaxing is that? It's just in tune with the element, isn't it? But I think I'm going to go with the Maid of Water. Here, Maid of Waters. Because the Maid of Waters here is so engrossed in discovering who they are and playing, you know. Take time to play, because that's how we learn, through play, isn't it? So yeah, that reminds me to relax. Your favourite representation of the colour blue? Well, here we go again. So there's an actual plethora of blue in this deck, and they're absolutely gorgeous blues. I love this King of Water. I love this Justice card. I love these blues. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. But if I've got to choose one, I think I'm going to actually go for Elf Stroke. And Elf Stroke would be, let's put these to one side, Elf Stroke would be the Tower. And I don't know, there's something about it, the way it's imprinted onto the face here. It's just one bolt of light, blue lightning. I just think it's so powerful. And sometimes that's exactly how we feel, isn't it? When the tower moments hit us, it's like we feel it very personally. So yeah, I think my favourite depiction of blue would be Hearthstroke. As a runner-up though, I'm actually going to include the Death card. It's got two colours, which is why I didn't, do it first off, is because it's blue and orange. But I like that duality there that shows the cycle of life, the warmth, the cold, pregnancy and birth, motherhood, the crone, and eventually death. I think it's just very indicative of the energy of death. This deck is amazing. But this card could also answer question 7, what card shifts your perspective? Because normally we see a tower, don't we, that's crumbling, that's been hit by the lightning. So this is a different perspective on that tower and how it does affect us personally. So yeah, that'll answer question 7 as well. What card makes you feel nostalgic would be probably the land. Because when the weather's like this, I mean, we've just had a hailstorm. So when the weather's like this, I have been out and I'll make myself walk out and go for a good walk. But obviously to get up on the moors, then the weather has to be conducive to that, because it can be pretty dangerous. But yeah, my nostalgia actually comes from my sense of place. Yeah, so that's the card that makes me feel nostalgic. Favourite animal that's represented has got to be the Strength card. Let's find it. That inner strength there. Wow. I'm going to mess with that. I really like that. I mean, all the aces actually have an animal on them. And yeah, they're great. But I think out of the whole deck, the energy here is captured fantastically. And yeah, if we've got this energy, we can do anything we set our mind to, can't we? We have that inner strength to be ourselves. Which court card reminds you the most of heartbreak? Well, let's have a look at them. The court cards in this deck are all very, very empowering figures. They're, if you think heartbreak, it's very difficult to see it in these cards because they're very self-affirming, strong characters. I mean, we do have the Selkie here, so I suppose we could look at that as heartbreak, maybe. Not knowing which way to choose. But I suppose I can only think about this one, really, the Witch of Waters. But then, I mean, is that heartbreak? Because this witch looks like they're well and truly in their element. So, yeah, I struggle with that question. Which card constantly follows you or appears from this deck? So, that's where my handy-dandy little chart comes in, isn't it? So, let's look. It has appeared a lot, this King of Stones. I felt like he's sort of being very stern with me. So, yeah, I would say the King of Stones. If you made this deck a meal, what would it be? Well, something hearty, like a stew or a broth. I think something in a big vat, in a big cauldron, so that, they could eat outside. So I think it would be meat-based, to be fair. Maybe venison, something like that. Because these people belong on the land, and I mean, the stag features quite heavily in this deck as well, so I presume it would be, we would have venison for our meal. Okay. What's this deck's favourite book? If you want to understand this deck, if this deck wants you to understand it, I think it would actually recommend Devin Forst's Witches Through History as a good background to this deck, actually. And the history of Scottish witchcraft. So I would say that would be the book. If you were to travel anywhere, where would you take this deck? Well, obviously up to Scotland. My first husband lives in Scotland, so yeah, if I go up to see him, I think this deck will come along for the ride. So that's quite easy. Where does this deck want to go? Where does this deck want to go? I think it wants to go up into the Highlands. I think it'd be very comfortable, or in a castle maybe. Maybe it could reside in a Scottish castle. Yeah, in a Scottish castle where it's cold and damp and you need furs to keep warm and a big massive fire. Yeah, I think it'd be quite comfortable there actually. Something you would change about the deck? I don't think I would actually. I think it's comfortable as it is. It's confronting and it's meant to be, I think. So I don't think I'd change anything. Which card would you hang in one of the rooms of your house? I don't think I'd hang any of them. I'm going to be quite honest, because I think they're very confronting, as I've said a couple of times. I've worked a full month with this deck now, and it's a strong, strong energy. So to actually have it up in the house, I don't know. Maybe that one. Maybe the Tree of Life, because that's quite a nice one with the heart. But even the animals are confronting, you know. It's just like, yeah, very confronting deck. So, no. I think the only one would be the Tree of Life. Something that sets this deck apart. Okay. I briefly touched on this. Let's put these to one side. Yeah, I briefly touched on this, and that's the... Well, first of all, the twos. I mean, all the aces are animals, as I said. All the twos are like these sort of twin energies. So if this is the same person but two sides of that personality, or if this is that twin, or, you know, however you want to read that, then I think that's one of the things. But the other thing that really sets this deck apart for me is the way it has cards that align with each other. I think I've touched on this earlier in the video about the hair and about the rowan beads and how the rowan beads appear in other cards. Then we see the Magician and the King of Trees are both stags, so there's a connection between different cards, and it's really been fun to actually look at those different connections. So I've enjoyed that. That's what sets it apart, I think, anyway, is discovering all those connections between the different cards. So on the renewal card, we've got this tattoo here, which is repeated on the Six of Trees. So it's a way of linking the cards up. But one of the things that actually does annoy me about this deck, and it's me, because I do a different system. Maybe this should come under something would change about the deck. Yeah, so the thing that annoys me here is the way these associations have been done. Because here, say, the Lord of the Forest is 15, so they've assigned it to the fives. Now, for me, it wouldn't be a 5, it would be 6. It would be the Lovers. And that would make more sense to me, actually, because 5 and 1 is 6. So those two cards, I mean, to me, they go together. They really do. Whereas in this system, they've taken the last number here, which would be the 5, and attributed that to all the 5s. And that doesn't align with the way that I use tarot. So that's the one thing I would change, I think. What card would be your pet? It's going to have to be the hare, really, isn't it? The hare appears in quite a few of the cards, and the hare is actually the witch in this system. Question 21. What's the deck's biggest fear? Well, this deck actually reminds me of the film Braveheart and Mel Gibson. So I think the deck's biggest fear would be loss of freedom, being controlled. I don't think this deck really wants to be controlled. It's wild, it's out in the wild, it loves being in the wild. Yeah, so any form of control would cause them a lot of anxiety. I think they'd rise up against that. If the deck had its own collection, what would it collect? maybe hagstones. Is it hagstone here? Maybe, yeah, so that they could scry, so that they could see through that portal. So maybe they collect hagstones. It would definitely be something wild anyway. Maybe antlers, because there's a lot of antler energy as well. So maybe they will collect antlers, or yeah, tree branches to make into tools, that sort of thing. But it would be something that would be useful, not just for its own sake, but something that would have to be useful, I would say. I'm going to skip 23 and go for 24. What's the deck's signature or favourite scent or flavour? Well, it's going to be anything earthy, isn't it? Anything earthy would, yeah, or moss, something like that. A wood scent maybe, cedar, or yeah, something like that, I would say. Who's the deck in love with? I think this deck's more about survival than love, and so procreation to make sure that the heritage lives on. But I think love would come quite secondary actually to this deck. How old does the deck believe it is? It's ancient. This deck is ancient energy. It's ancestral energy. Definitely, you know, it's wild energy. Who's the deck's father? The land. Nature. Yeah, the land and nature is the deck's father. There's a lot of crone energy though, so maybe we should ask the deck's mother, because it's probably, you know, someone like Cauldron. We have here. Most and least favourite card and why? Well, my least favourite card is this one. Which would be the Empress, the Queen of Alfame. This is, and I understand why they've chosen this image, but this image just looks like it doesn't fit in this deck at all. It seems really random. But this is the Queen of the Fairies, and the Queen of the Fairies can present how the Queen of Fairies wants to present. So, you know, if the Queen of Fairies wants to present in all their finery, that is what they're going to do. But it just doesn't seem to fit in, really. I don't know, it doesn't. It stands out as too different from the rest of the images, in my opinion. Most favourite card, I can't choose. I mean, they're great, aren't they? I mean, look at this hermit with this blue eye and brown eye, and I don't know, they're just so fantastically beautiful. I don't like this card. I just don't. It gives me the creeps. That, and I don't know, that face gives me the creeps. I don't like that sun card. But most favourite, maybe Ancient Starlight. That's absolutely gorgeous energy. Beautiful. And it reminds me actually of the Weaver's Oracle. By the by. Oh, does any card remind you of someone and who? Yeah, the Weaver's Oracle. That's what that reminds me of. But that wasn't quite the question, but yeah, I'll take that. Okay, which card in the deck makes you feel seen? I would imagine maybe all of the crone energy, actually, because I am an older person, and we do tend to get overlooked as we get older, don't we? We no longer are of service, and so therefore we're not relevant anymore, whereas these are very relevant older ladies. So I would say, yeah, all the crone energy in this deck, the older energy. You know, as age has a place in this world, even though, I don't know, everyone's obsessed with youth. But yeah, that's just my personal thing. What is this deck's favourite tarot deck? I think it'd go well with the Hidden Realm, actually. I think it would juxtapose with that one. And it's the same artist, so I think it'll go really well with that one. Okay, what is the outlier card of the deck? Well, I would say we're back to our Empress here. It just doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of it. What's the deck's favourite spread? Well, that iron spread, that is just such a great spread. It works so well. I would encourage you to do this spread, Charm of Iron spread, in the book on page 194, because that is brilliant spread. yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all these, especially this one, the Witch Mirror, and the way that I did it. But yeah, so yeah, that's probably pretty much all of those questions actually, and that's where I'm going to end this video because it's going to be super long, I know that. Yeah, so that's those questions. Actually, I think pretty much all of those One Deck Gone Wild questions. So I'm going to leave this video there, and I have truly enjoyed working with this deck. I think it needs more attention from me, actually. I think there's so much in this, but now we're just coming into March. I want to swap decks because I can't, I've got a lot of decks. You've probably realised I've got a lot of decks and I want to use them. And so, yeah, I'm going now to choose the deck for March, and it will be a Fae deck. So, yeah, stay tuned and see which deck I choose for March. Thank you so much for being here. Until the next time. Bye, friends. Bye.